Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. So in today's video we're going to be making this twisted easel card with a fan fold on it. Now this was just a kind of tester card that I made when preparing this video and I really like this style. I saw something similar on Pinterest, but this is my own spin on it. And I just really love how decorative it could be. And so in today's video we're really going to step it up and we're going to add a few extra details. So first of all, to make the card, you're going to need a 6x6 card blank. Now, I cut this from 12x12 cardstock, but the 12x12 was slightly shorter. So it's about 11 and 7/8 squared, 11 and 7/8 long, and then 5 and 7/8 wide. So I'm just going to score it down the centre. I've just kind of lined it up on my scoreboard to make sure that I've got a central line. And then the next fold we're going to have to make is this other diagonal fold. Now, the easiest way I found to do this without drawing on my scoreboard was to just run my score tool down that centre line and then make sure that the triangle at the top, the point at the top, lines up in that score line. And then I'm going to line up the bottom corner in the score line because remember my score tool's down there so I can easily see where it should line up. And then I'm just going to score straight down that diagonal and then we're going to fold and burnish that inside the card. And it's that straightforward to get this lovely twisted easel card shape or style. So to decorate my card, I've already gone ahead and cut out all the different panels, but I'm just going to give you the measurements now. This is the paper pad that I'm using. It was only £4 from the works. It's called Lovely Flowers and it's really, really pretty. It's got lovely bold prints of flowers and background like marks, and it's just beautiful. Perfect for scrapbooking and card making. So yeah, I'm really enjoying using this paper pad. So for the matte layers, I've gone ahead and cut 2 pieces of 5 3/4 squared holographic cardstock. One piece we'll be keeping whole, the other we're going to be cutting in half. And then the pattern paper is 5 1/8 squared, and it's the same for the triangular pieces that I'll show you in a moment. So I'm just adding some Cosmic Shimmer glue to this and then I'm going to stick that down to the centre of this card blank. Now, usually I like to use Collal, but if you get any on any coated cardstock, it does strip the coating off. And I didn't want to risk that with the holographic cardstock. So I'm using the Cosmic Shimmer today, which is equally fine. These 2 pieces also are the same. So the holographic cardstock is 5 3/8 squared. And to cut it in a diagonal, all I'm doing is just lining up the corners on my trimmer on the bladed bit at the bottom and just wiggling that around until I'm sure that it's going to be equal, and then we're just going to trim that in half. We're going to do exactly the same with the patterned piece as well, and the patterned piece measures 5 1/8 squared, and then we're going to attach those 2 triangles together using the Cosmic Shimmer glue as well. Of course, you could use double-sided tape if you're worried about any glue kind of seeping out. But I just find that if you're very quick, if you wipe off any glue that's seeped out really quickly, you don't leave a mark at all on any kind of coated or holographic cardstock. So I'm quite happy using the Cosmic Shimmer for this. I also just find that liquid glue tends to hold a lot longer as well. So this is the stopper that I'm going to use for the fold. And I'm just going to attach this down. This was a sentiment from the paper pad, and all I've done is I've used the nested hexagon dies from Craftstash, and I've just die cut a piece from the holographic and this sentiment out. It reads, "Roses are red, violets are blue. If you were a flower, I'd pick you." So it's a really cute little sentiment. Now, to have it as my stopper, I'm going to use some foam tape. Now, I really want this to have some dimension. I don't want it to just be flat on the card, so I'm going to stack my foam tape up so that it's got a slightly raised angle so that when the card's displayed, the sentiment still pops up a little bit. So I'm going to add 1 piece of foam tape at the base, 2 pieces in the middle, and 3 at the top. And then that way you'll have that raised, stacked kind of foam just to prop that sentiment up. And it's just a really good way of adding a little bit of extra dimension to a card and just really making the sentiment stand out. I'm just making sure as well that the top is nicely tucked inside the card. So I've made sure that the corners of the hexagon are lined up with the edge of the card base so that when it's flat, it's nice and discreetly inside. So next we're going to create the fan fold. Now I've got a piece of cardstock which is 7 inches by 4 inches, and then I've got this border die. I'm not sure where I got this from, but I'm sure many of you will already have something similar in your stash. You could even use a border punch for this, or if you've got any decorative scissors, then they would work equally well as well. And this is just going to really step up the fan fold on the card and just make it look a lot more decorative. So I'm bringing my Big Shot and I'm just going to line it up on the base plate, and I'm just going to then run that through. I'm going to use some low tack tape. This is the mint tape from scrapbook.com, and I'm just going to hold that die in place while I run it through. And then I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to move the die along, tack it in place and run that through so that we've got a nice border all the way along the edge of the fan. To line it up, I make sure that one of the decorative elements is inside one that's already die cut, and then that way I know that it's lined up nicely and we're going to get a nice finish. So there's that lovely edge, that decorative edge that we're going to have on the fan. So now we're going to make the actual folds, and all I'm going to do is bring in my scoreboard and score every 1/4 of an inch all the way along that panel. I'm then going to flip it over and score the same score lines on the reverse, just so that they're nice and crisp. Then we're going to fold each of those lines, one away from yourself, one towards yourself. So over and under, all the way until the whole panel is folded. Then I'm going to burnish it with my score tool. And then if you pinch it at the bottom, you can fold out this beautiful fan. And I just think having that die cut border really just steps the fan up a little bit. It just adds that extra element. So now to hold the fan in place, I'm going to bring back in the Cosmic Shimmer glue, and I'm just going to add a little dot in each of the folds along the bottom. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to pinch it and hold it in place until it's nice and dry. I'm then going to add some ribbon at the bottom of the fan, but to do this I'm going to add some red line tape, just a strip all the way around the bottom. This will also help to hold the ribbon in place, but it'll also help to keep that fan together as well. And I'm going to add, I thought I'd wanted to use both of these ribbons, but when I kind of tied the bow in the burgundy ribbon and then wrapped the pink ribbon around, it just wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, and I couldn't work out the best way to do it. So I take that off, and I decide to leave the burgundy ribbon on the bottom, and I'm just going to trim off the excess, just so that that kind of sits nicely around the bottom. It hides any glue, and then I'm just going to tie the pink ribbon around the base of that and make a little bow, and then I'll just trim off the excess. So now I'm just bringing the Twisted Easel card back in, and I'm just going to work out where I want the fan to be, what kind of angle I want it at, and to make sure that it fits on the card nicely so that when it's folded flat it's not sticking out too much. And once I'm happy with the angle, I'm just going to lay the card flat, and I'm going to bring in these die cut leaves and flowers because I'm going to add these onto the front of this card as well. Again, we're just stepping up the card that I'd originally showed you at the beginning, and I think these actually really add a lovely finishing touch. This die set is from Craftstash. It's the Paper Discovery range. I think it's from the Teacup Fairies collection. I'll link it in the description box below because I think it is actually on sale at the moment and it's a really good price. So if they've got any stock left, I will leave that link in the bottom description box. So I'm just going to speed this up now while I work out where I want all the placement to be, glue all the flowers together using the Cosmic Shimmer glue. And once I'm happy with all the placement on the front of the card, I'm then just going to stick each of those down. Of course, you can use whatever you've already got in your stash. I'm sure many of you have got lots of flower dies already. You could, of course, use the flowers from the paper pad and fussy cut them out if you don't have any die cutting machines or dies. But yeah, there's lots of different ways that you could decorate this card. And of course, you don't even need to add a fan element to it at all. But I just think it really just makes a really pretty card. It's something a little bit different. And yeah, it's more of a showstopper card, really. To attach the fan, again, I'm also using the Cosmic Shimmer glue at the back. You could use a hot glue gun for this, but I find the quick grab glue held it just fine. And then just standing it up to make sure that all the elements are where I want them to be. And it's good to do that when you're adding these elements on, just so that you can make sure that the display looks pretty when it's standing up. Sometimes it looks nice flat, but then when you stand it up, it's not so, perhaps it doesn't look quite right to the eye. So I've just added that butterfly as the finishing touch, and that's the finished card for today. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some inspiration for ways that you can add a fan fold to fun fold cards. And as always, I'll leave all the products that I've used in the description box below and some close-up photos at the end of this video. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and please leave a comment in the box below. Let me know if you'd give this card a go or what you'd do differently. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Take care.